In our last episode, Peter decides to bring down the organization, and only one person comes to his mind to help him with his mission. Unfortunately, the person is weird, but Peter doesn't have many options. Later that night, Peter enters a demolished bathroom. He sees many people sleeping on the floor. Even the security guard sleeps with them. Peter walks through the unclean people and wonders how their numbers keep rising each time he visits. After that, he gets to the other side of the washroom and goes to the wall to check out the posters pasted on the wall. He traces his hand across the wall as if he is trying to locate something. He then recalls that it was between the posters of organ trafficking and steaming night. Finally, he finds the spot he's been looking for and pushes the secret button to unveil a hidden passage. He passes through the secret door, down the dark stairs, and reaches a beautifully furnished apartment. Peter says it's not his first time in this place, but it is fantastic, as always. He looks around the apartment and admires the owner for his choice of keeping expensive bottles of wine lined up on the shelves. Then suddenly a sharp thing touches his neck. When he looks over, he finds a lady holding the stick. Peter notices she is blind and assumes all these expensive things in the apartment are useless to her as she can't even see them. Peter notices that his loyal dog doesn't like him much and starts barking at him in hostility. Hearing Peter's voice puts a slight smile on a blind woman's face, and she concludes that she'd soon have to get rid of a corpse for the first time in a while. Blind women use their enhanced sense of smell to sniff out Peter practically. She realizes that Peter is young, and he is not a beggar. She even concludes that he exudes killing intent rather than a desire to rob her. She is not an average, weak, blind woman, and she proves it when she swings her stick at Peter. She suspects that Glory Club sends Peter. Peter thinks she is more accurate than most people, but Peter is too quick and needs to catch up. She continues to swing her stick, but Peter manages to dodge each attack with excellent skills. She tells Peter to be careful not to damage her expensive wallpaper with his incredible speed. With great speed, the blind woman throws her stick at Peter like a javelin athlete, but again, Peter dodges it sharply. The stick sticks to the wall beside Peter. Peter wonders if the lady is blind. She then tries to hit Peter with a leg kick and taunts Peter, saying that she's such a good fighter even though she is blind. But unfortunately for her, Peter is sharp enough, so he catches her midair and grabs her arm and leg before throwing her. Peter's speed and skills send blind women into amazement. However, it looks like she also has some tricks under her belt as she pulls out a knife and holds it against Peter's face while he drops her to the couch. She admits and surprised to see someone of his caliber is still be a member of the Glory Club. She taunts Peter that she didn't sense any killing intent in Peter's move and reminds Peter how bad it will be if he murders disabled women. She tells Peter that she doesn't have any choice as her work only ends when he kills a person. Then she orders her dog to attack Peter, Alexander Macking. Without wasting time, Alexander hurls himself at Peter, ready to bite him with his sharp teeth. But something unexpected happens when Peter suddenly calms down the vicious dog, and Alexander lies on his back and enjoys a nice belly rub while the blind lady is lying with great amazement. A few moments later, a blind lady opens a bottle of Jack and Nels. Peter then explains that he is no longer an older man, but is back to the specially trained killer stud he used to be. The blind lady couldn't believe his age conversion and felt Peter's face with her hands to confirm that he was not lying to her. She affirms that Peter's skin is even softer and that the smell of his old man is also not there. She looks surprised. After feeling face for 30 minutes, she still doesn't understand what Peter tells her. Suddenly, he funnily falls on the couch and asks Peter that's how he died. Peter asks what she is doing. She asks Peter how he died so she can repeat the posture. She stands back and asks if the posture is not essential, and if the method by which he was attacked may be necessary. She continues to interrogate Peter, asking if he was killed with a gun, knife, or any poison. With a desperate look on her face, she asks Peter to explain so she can rejuvenate like him. Suddenly, a boil appears on her forehead, implying that Peter smacks her so they can change the topic. She asks Peter if he has to go to the Glory Club alone. Peter replies yes. She asks Peter how he's planning to do that. Peter replies he is going inside using the Eye of the Storm. She questions what Eye of the Storm. Peter explains to her that Glory is chasing him, and he wants to finish Glory by going inside again. He plans to become a killer for the Glory Club again. and that's the best way to take down the organization from the inside. By hearing this, the blind lady rejects the idea. But she soon realizes that it's a good idea. She points out how he has become younger and that no one will recognize him, and he can easily infiltrate the organization undercover. Whatever their plans to kill Peter, Peter will be well aware of that. She is impressed by Peter's move. She pulls Peter by his tie and starts flirting with him. She tells Peter that he has become scary. Peter looks uncomfortable and tells her to let him go because she is more terrifying than him, and she lets go of his tie. She tells Peter that to become a member of the Glory Club, he has to graduate from Glory Orphanage, which looks impossible. As old Peter has already graduated from Glory Orphanage, but in his current appearance, he is nothing but an outsider. It seems like there is no way to become a killer of the Glory Club. Peter tells her that she is wrong and that there is a way. He will be a student of Glory Club's high school, and at this point, he is still determining what kind of organization this club is supposed to be. How do they have an orphanage, a school, and a killer at the same time? Peter gets admitted to the school and enters when all the girls start flirting with him over his beautiful face and perfect body. Peter's new name is Kim Song-gu. It's time to head towards the auditorium, and even one of the teachers tries to make advances on him, but he has no interest in whatever is happening around him. He thinks that the institute looks like a regular school from the outside, but in reality, its primary purpose is fostering killers. There's even a killer-intensive class that operates secretly where students get training on how to kill a person. Peter, entering as Kim, realizes that it is the only way to become one of the Glory Club killers. He thinks about his plan while admirers from men and women surround him. Peter arrives at the auditorium for the girls' original ballet grand prize. He walks into the hall while his blind friend communicates with him, reminding him that only orphanage graduates are eligible for the killer class. She asks Peter if he has a way to get in. Peter reveals that he has only one way, an exception, and that it rarely happens. He has to get the management's intentions. To do so, Peter walks up to the stage and takes the mic. Ms. Murdoch, blind lady, and her dog-macking return home. They are in shock at what he is going to do. Peter introduces himself as Kim Song-gu, the new transfer student. Students are in shock and ask what Peter is doing. Peter ignores everyone's questions, continues his introduction, tells them about his love for fighting, and tells everyone that he is a killer. Everyone is horrified, including a blind lady and her dog back home. There is a group of faceless people with glowing red eyes listening to what Peter is saying, and they are all armed with deadly weapons. Peter confirms that he forgot to tell them one last and important thing. He then gets closer to the mic and tells everyone that he is going to be a killer who is good at studying. And with a smile on his face, he closes his speech by telling everyone to take care of him while he is at their school. One of the students watching Peter's speech on the phone finds it funny, and he thinks he can become an academic killer. On the other hand, another student suggests that Peter's confidence is tremendous. Just then, a fat guy pushes the girl with the phone out of the way, and with that fat guy, Peter finds himself surrounded by some other students. Peter assumes that his plan has worked. The fat guy with a scar on his lips is the first to confront Peter. The fat guy asks Peter, calling him a killer if he seduces Yejin. Peter looks confused and has no idea what that fat guy is talking about. The fat guy starts weeping and curses Peter, Jang Yeseo, for a long time. He's been in love with only one girl, Yejin, and they have been dating for 20 days. They have been in a very blissful and romantic relationship. That's enough time to fall in love. Jang loves Yejin a lot, and they have been crowned as the best lovers of Divine Honor High School. Unfortunately, Peter steals Jang's love from him, so Jang is here to take revenge. Jang charges Peter and tries to punch him, but Peter is too fast for him. He swiftly dodges Jang's punch and prepares a mighty right-hand punch on Jang's face. Yang Yisul is popular here because he conquered the Mapo district alone with his fists. He is a tough guy. However, for the first time in Jang's life, he senses death when he sees Peter's punch racing towards his face. When the punch is about to hit Jang's face, he closes his eyes and apologizes to Yin for being unable to protect her. Peter stops his fist and decides not to hit a powerful punch on his face but flick Jang on his forehead. Jang falls to the ground, shivering with his swollen forehead, while Peter stands before Jang. The teacher calls out to Peter and runs towards him with a red card in hand. He asks Peter how dare he is fighting here. The teacher grabs Peter by his cheek in anger and asks Peter what his father does for a living. Peter replies that his father is dead, which makes the teacher feel sorry, and he apologizes to Peter. The teacher doesn't let go of that cheek, pulls Peter away, and tells Peter to follow him as he keeps asking him how he dares to fight in their school. Yang gets back on his feet and yells at Peter to let him go. It seems like he is still unconscious. Another student tells him that Peter is not holding him anymore. Hidden-faced killer students appeared again, and they were deciding what they should do about Peter. One suggests waiting a little more and finding out more about him, while the other agrees as they find it fun. Another student suggests killing Peter. Meanwhile, in the auditorium, the teacher is still dragging Peter by his cheek and tells Peter to follow him. Peter replies that he is already following him. Some other students who have just watched this all gossip that the new transfer student is crazy, while others think he is in his MO phase, which they believe is excellent. Then a girl who tried to kill Peter in his bookshop. She sees him while dragged by the teacher, and she is horrified because she thinks Peter has been transferred into the school to destroy it from the inside. That girl's name is Yoonbyul, and Peter goes to her and asks to sit beside her. Yoonbyul asks Peter what he is doing here. Peter replies that people are still following him, so he flees. Then Peter asks her why she is sitting here. Yoonbyul replies that she is sitting there because she doesn't have an appetite. Peter rejects her reason as he notices the mountain of food on her tray. The girl turns away from Peter, calling him noisy. Yoonbyul starts thinking back to the night at the eight-legged hideout when the eight-legged offered her to Peter in return for his life. She remembers how Peter asked her to tell the organization that the old Peter killed the people there. Peter's told her she had to do it if she wanted to live. The girl reminds Peter that she did as he tells her and keeps her promise. Then she asks Peter why he is here and finds her. Peter explains that he is not particularly here to see her. A girl with a mouth full of strawberries asks Peter that he is now here to kill her. Peter refuses and tells them that he is not here to kill her. She explained that the organization monitors her every move because of Peter, and he might know how difficult it is for her. Peter tells Yoonbyul that she should put up with whatever she's going through. He reminds her that the only reason she's alive and eating today is because he saved her life. She tells Peter that he wasn't the one who saved her life, but she survived on her own. Peter lets go of the topic and accepts her claim. She then asks Peter about the organization. As she doesn't know about the organization, she has no idea how scary the place is, and she claims that he doesn't even know who she is. She asks Peter how an outsider like him can harm an organization from the inside. Peter asks her for help in doing this. She gets up, starts walking away, and asks why she will help him. To convince her, Peter tells her they are in the same boat as they both know nothing, and that he is counting on her. Peter calls her Yoonbyul, then changes his mind and addresses her as Lee Yuna. The girl stops in amazement at how he knows her real name. When she turns around to Peter, she sees that Peter is gone. The scene shifts, and the Divine Honor High School students preparing for the athletic competition. A student named Jonathan running a sprint race, a man who is known as Usain Bolt at Divine Honor High School, and he holds the 400-meter sprint high school record. But today is his retirement day as a new student, and it will smash his record. Jonathan runs with all his power, but Peter effortlessly goes past him. After the race, Peter receives cheers from fangirls around. Jonathan is seen sitting after losing the race, and Jang is sitting next to him. Meanwhile, one of the killer students with red glowing eyes is watching everything from the bushes. Later, Peter is going through the eye tests, where other students find it challenging to read tiny numbers on the wall, but Peter casually reads all with one eye. Other students are amazed. Someone keeps observing this from the shadows once again. In class today, students will learn how to cut fruits extravagantly. The teacher and other students assume that Peter probably doesn't know how to cut fruits and that he hasn't held a knife before, so they tell him to be careful. Peter tells them he will do his best, and the teacher offers to help if he finds it difficult. Peter sculpts a rabbit from a fruit, which is so cool that some people think the rabbit is alive. Someone is watching this all from behind. Somewhere else, a group of students threatening the teacher who pulled Peter earlier by his cheek. The teacher asks students what their parents do for a living, and instead of answering, he starts mocking their parents. One student punches the teacher to the floor when he tries to use his authority. Those bad students even threaten the teacher to suspend his teaching license for child abuse. They even threaten to sue him and get his license suspended if he dares. They try to punish them with penalty points and ask them to keep on sitting there. Bad students decide to upload what they have just recorded to TikTok. They see Peter coming towards them and asking if they beat the teacher. Students tease him. Meanwhile, the rascals' leader tells him to leave and spits on Peter's shirt. Peter stares at them, and they again warn Peter to go if he doesn't want to die. He then tries to hit a punch on Peter, but Peter is too fast to dodge his move. Rascal tries over and over but keeps missing. Peter then sweeps the guy off the floor. The other tries to hit Peter with a brick from behind, but Peter punches it to tear it apart. After seeing this, all the rascals apologize to the teacher before leaving, calling Peter the villain as justice always wins. Peter says that's why he wins today. Peter asks the teacher, "That okay?" But the teacher starts lecturing him not to fight in front of the teacher. Peter notices that the rascals left their phone on the ground. When Peter tries to pick it up, the teacher gets up and tries to hit Peter with a kick. Peter blocks it. The teacher's suspicion confirms that Peter is not a regular guy. Peter asks the teacher what he is saying, and in reply, the teacher gives evidence to Peter by showing his cup of tea as he didn't even spill a drop out while fighting. The teacher asks Peter where he learned to fight like that and why he learned it. Peter replies that he wants his revenge from glorious killers like them who spoiled his life, his house, and his family and took all his money. The teacher asks Peter if he would like to join their volunteering club. Peter admits that he is waiting for the teacher to come and approach him about it. And the one red-eyed guy who watches Peter's every move from the dark is that teacher. Peter agrees to join the volunteering club. The teacher takes him to a secret class where the various Glory Club killers are fostered. When Peter opened the door, he saw a very normal-looking classroom. The students inside look so average. The teacher says this is the place where they raise killers. The teacher then takes the podium and introduces Peter to the rest of the class, telling them he's a new volunteer working with them in the future. Then Liuna sees Peter, and she looks horrified and wonders why he is here. She tells Peter not to say anything. Peter gives her a wink. She thinks that did he say anything to her or he told her that he is now going to kill her. Peter looks back at the rest of the class and introduces himself, thanking them for their warm welcome. He says this with a smile on his face, but in his mind he thinks about what an ordinary place it is to raise killers. Two students start bullying Peter. It seems they don't like him very much and make it clear that they don't care what his name is. Peter looks at these guys and thinks they fit in anyway, unlike the rest of the class. One guy among the two with cut ears, named Dak Gohaing, tells Peter that only people from Honor Orphanage are allowed here. How does he make it? The other guy's name is Dak Gohii. He is a 58th generation graduate of the orphanage, and his particular traits are strength and grappling. Peter stares at them and discloses that he is also from the orphanage and is even a first-generation graduate. Then the teacher interrupts and suggests giving him a simple welcome party. Hearing this, other students indicated that they should punch Peter initially. Their accurate picture of killers appears when they talk about blood punches and they all take out their weapons. Dachgo Haiying and Dachgo Yi also wish to welcome him in a bloody welcome ceremony. Li Yuna interrupts them and tries to stop them, knowing how dangerous Peter is. He might kill them, but they push her aside and warn her to stay out of it if she doesn't want to get beat up along with Peter. The girl gives up on trying to stop them. The brothers talk to Peter by telling him about a new kid and asking him if he can fight and if he likes neighborhood hooligans. Peter replies that he can fight a bit. He has fought over 500 fights. After hearing this, the brothers tell Peter this might be his last fight. They attack Peter simultaneously. Hae-young with a knife and Yi with his fist. Peter easily blocks their attack, but they keep pushing Peter back. During the fight, Hae-young tells Peter that the volunteer club has no place in the neighborhood, and they add that Peter doesn't know how they are risking their lives to become the best killer in the world, like legendary Peter. Peter looks annoyed hearing them and asks them to come together. They attack together and call him a nepotism baby, but Peter dodges them again smartly. In next scene, the brothers sweating. Hyung says he didn't even use his half strength, and the teacher explains that they should have gone easier in Peter. Other students cheer the brothers and claim Peter left because he was terrified. Peter walking away from the volunteer club in the dark hallway. Lee Yuna asks Peter if he underestimates the volunteer club. Peter is trying to figure out what she is talking about. Lee replies that Peter can't fool her anymore. She explains that she watched his fight with the brothers earlier and asks why he didn't put any strength into his fist. Peter pretends he tried his best, but she refuses and says she has proof. Lee Yuna points out that, unlike those brothers, Peter does not sweat. Peter stares at her and doesn't say a word. Lee Yuna pins Peter to the wall and asks him why he didn't put any effort into the fight, pointing out how suspicious his presence in the school is and what he is hiding. Give her an answer. Peter looks at her with no expression, slips under her arms, and escapes by saying it is lunchtime, but the girl corrects him by telling him it's dinner time and stares at him with frustration. After that, a bus driver, feeling excited that he got paid 1 million won for renting the bus and thinks he is lucky. The man in glasses calls him. The driver expects a lot of passengers, but the man says he will be the only one. The man in glasses carries a lot of suitcases with him as well. The driver offers to load them up and not feel lucky anymore. The driver thinks about how many suitcases he has to carry up. Then a man in glasses asks him if he likes to bet on something, and he tells the driver to guess what's inside the suitcases. Then they both start their journey. The driver says he didn't accept his bet, which looks dangerous. The driver thinks he knows what he sees. He sees one suitcase moving. The next day at school, the Glory Killers teacher tells students about the new quest. He informs them about client Choi Yun Chang, who is Dewa Group's chairman. They all have heard about him, as he is one of the biggest sponsors of Glory Club. The teacher tells students that the team winning this quest will receive a volunteer certificate and the chairperson's recommendations. In easy words, the winner will officially become a Glory Killer. Peter thinks that it's time he was waiting for. The instructor tells them about the quest, which involves recapturing. There have been some recent kidnappings of teenagers, but one of them is the chairman's only son, and they have to recapture him. One of the students points out that they can report to the police. The teacher explains that the chairman wants revenge. All they need to do is to recapture the chairman's son. The teacher asks them who is interested in doing this task. Most students are not interested in doing this. The teacher looks strange and tells them they will spend 2 more years becoming official killers. They think they do not feel good about this task, and sometimes they must give such tasks to others. Those 2 brothers show interest in the fact that there will be no one other than them to do it and raise their hands. The brothers notice that they do not want this mission. It looks like a new kid and loser coming too. Peter tells Lee to stop copying him, but she claims her hands are up before Peter. Peter threatens Lee that he will cut her hands if she lies, but the girl stops him from saying nonsense. The brothers are excited about the mission and ask the teacher if they can go and beat them up. The teacher tells them that they need to follow certain conditions first. Peter gets excited, knowing he's finally got his chance to become an official killer in the organization. The scene shifts and Peter looks disappointed because they are recovering kidnappees in an amusement park, so they must play as much as they want. They see dancers wearing all sorts of colorful clothes. The brothers watch the dancers in awe and ask why they wear bikinis at the amusement park. They wonder if it is any fun for them. One of the dancers greets them, but the brothers are too puzzled. Some of the girls around try to flirt with Peter. Lee Yuna is thinking about the mission, and the teacher tells them that this is where they are supposed to be. Chairman Choi Yun Chang's son was kidnapped. Girls flirting with Peter ask him if he's on TikTok. Peter has no idea what they are discussing. Lee Yuna thinks about the teacher when he briefed them about their mission and showed them the location where the chairman's son was kidnapped. The teacher shows them the boy's picture and other details, including his passport front page, which shows his name as Bidulo, and reminds them that their job is to secure the hostage and take down the kidnapper. Lee Yuna calls the place where the boy was last seen a place called Palin World, but where he will be now, only God knows. She is reading the amusement park map and is unsure whether he is alive. They need clues about the vast park too. Lee looks up at Peter and wonders if he can find the solution to their current problem. It looks like he knows everything. Peter tells them to go and let's see any clues. They head towards one of the rides at the park. But the person in charge explains to the brothers and apologizes that they can't take a ride unless they have a reservation. If they get his point, please go and get a reservation. But the brothers don't get his point and think about what kind of booking they need to get for a ride. In charge asks them if they have any complaints, then they can direct message them. Someone from the crowd suggests it looks like it's their first time at an amusement park and laughs. Peter turns around and the person explains that they need to install the app and get started. Lee Yuna quickly installs the app, and they see Atlantis and the haunted house are already fully booked. Jay looks at Lee and asks her if she is coming here to get a ride, suggesting that she is not even thinking about the mission. A few moments later, both the brothers are spotted having fun on one of the toy horse rides. They are even hitting the toy horses. Then the brothers start riding the bumper cars and enjoying it a lot. Kids around are watching them with great amazement. Lee Yuna is fed up with their behavior and tells them they are very loud. Lee Yuna and Peter walk towards the shop where they must shoot something to win a prize. The store owner claims that this game is easy, and he runs this business with no profit or loss. Lee Yuna asks what kind of gift she will get if she wins, wondering if it will be something she can eat. Peter asks Lee to try first. It seems the shop owner has rigged the game, and tells them he is giving the prizes for free when he finds them cut. The owner thinks they are pushovers and won't be able to hit a single target as he weights down the dolls and laughs. She prayed that they would spend thousands of won and try as much as possible to win a prize. Lee Yuna picks up a toy gun and thinks she has never used a fake one before. Thanks to this game, she will use it today and laugh. When Peter and Lee Yuna were done playing the game, they won all the prizes and walked out of the shop victoriously. The man couldn't believe it and sat on the ground, watching them in confusion. The next moment, Peter is standing alone, the brothers suggesting to each other to go for another ride and tell Lee Yuna to stop eating. They then call Peter out and ask him to join them. Peter notices that they are very excited. In his mind, he thinks it might be their first time in an amusement park, assuming just like Peter, they also had a rough childhood, and he asks them to enjoy it as much as possible. After all, none of them even knows when they will be able to laugh like that again in their lives. In the next scene, Lee Yuna sitting on the bench behind a tree. She thinks they are not here to play, but on a mission, and while thinking this, she is eating. Suddenly, a notification on her mobile screen shows that her phone is connected to someone's AirPods, which Choi Yoon-jul owns. She remembers that it is the name of the chairman's son. She wonders where she is getting the signal for his AirPods. She thinks that boy must be somewhere around. So she immediately gets up and looks around for where the AirPods might be. She realizes that signals are coming from the women's restroom. She thinks that some women might pick up a boy's AirPod, or it might be someone with the same name. Lee Yuna asks herself if he should ask others for help, or if she should go there alone. She finally decides to go into the restroom initially. She walks in and finds a girl checking her makeup. She realizes that the signals are coming from the woman. Lee Yuna walks up to the woman and tries to ask her, smiling, where she got these AirPods. But the woman screams in terror and jumps away from Lee Yuna. Suddenly, her boyfriend comes out and asks her the reason for her terror. She tells her boyfriend that Lee Yuna comes from nowhere and tries to harm her. Lee Yuna tries to explain that wasn't her intention. She adds that Lee Yuna wanted to steal her stuff. Her boyfriend asks Lee if she does not look like the wrong person, but is a pickpocket. Lee Yuna tries to explain herself by claiming that there is a misunderstanding. But her boyfriend doesn't listen to her, slaps Lee Yuna, and asks how she dare try to mess with her girl. Her girlfriend tries to stop her boyfriend and asks that she only wants her apology, and a man promises that she will surely get it but first gives her a little beating. Meanwhile, on the outside, the brothers wonder where Lee Yuna has gone. One thinks she might be eating something again. They then ask Peter if he knows where she is. Peter replies that he doesn't, and tells them they don't need to worry about it as something wrong will not happen to her. Lee Yuna manages to defeat that boyfriend with the help of a lollipop. After that, she approaches that girl and asks where she gets those AirPods. After a while, she meets up with their companions, shows them what she has just found, and tells them that AirPods belong to the chairman's son. She finds it where the chairman's son was lost. Peter thinks they think also about the same place, and the girl asks what he is talking about. Peter asks them to think, as there are always a lot of people around the amusement park. Pointing out that the only place a person can suddenly disappear makes the behavior of the kidnappers seem normal. It has to be a place where it's not strange to scream or jump at someone. With that, Peter then shows her the reservation for the haunted house and points out that it is fully booked for today, and they don't see anyone entering the house. Peter suggests that the boy must be kept in a haunted house. They get in for further investigation. The brothers lead from the front and ask Lee and Peter to follow them. While walking through the corridor, Lee Yuna asks Hae-young to leave her shirt as he is holding her shirt in scariness. He replies that he is watching her back. Peter looks focused and leads the way. Everyone realizes that Peter is correct, as no one else is there. Peter then tells everybody to get ready. The brothers ask nervously what he is talking about. Peter tells them that their mission is about to start. Then smoke appears before them. Peter tells them they are already halfway there. He reminds himself that their mission is to recover the chairman's son and capture the kidnapper. The smoke puts Peter and the others asleep, and they fall on the floor. A man in a white suit appears and starts walking toward them. The teacher is running towards the room and tells someone to stop what he is doing. He then asks about the kids, and the guy answers that they are on their mission already. The teacher orders the guy to call the kids right now. The guy asks the teacher if everything is all right. The guy then calls them on his phone, but they do not pick up his calls. The teacher then realizes the mission is more complex than he thought. Then he suddenly mentions the name Park Sang-do. Hearing his name, the other guy looks nervous too. The teacher confirms that it's the same Park Sang-do. He knows who was chosen as a disciple candidate, but he got kicked out because Glory couldn't control him. The other guy points out that the kids are smart and can care for themselves. They have learned the basics so nothing wrong will happen to them. But the teacher says no, that Park Sang-do is very dangerous. Park Sang-do is the same guy who was transferring briefcases. Park Sang-do ties up the unconscious students and tells them that he used chloroform to put them to sleep. When he uses this chemical on ordinary people, they usually sleep with open mouths, but Lee Yuna's mouth is closed. The assistant asks the teacher if they must stop Park Sang-do immediately. The teacher says that Park Sang-do is cruel and reveals his artificial leg. The teacher suggests they must save the students because he knows the park will cut off their legs. Lee Yuna wakes up and realizes that Park Sang-do has figured out his reality. End of chapter 4 to 7.